This video will walk you through setting up your ALEKS account and showing you how to do your assignments in ALEKS. To get to ALEKS, you can either go through our Blackboard site and click on the ALEKS link, or you can type in the URL www.aleks.com. When you get to your ALEKS homepage, you're going to want to sign up as a new user. If you've used ALEKS before, you can go ahead and already sign in with your login name and password. And I'll come back to that for people who already have accounts. But if this is your first time using ALEKS, you want to click on Sign Up Now. Okay. Here you're going to have two options. You can either sign up with a course code, or you can sign up using ALEKS on your own. For us, since we're going to be doing this with a class, you want to use a course code. Our course code for this course is 3H3HU E3KLC. Okay, I want to take a minute and have you write that down. Okay, you're going to need that course code to access our information. Once you've entered that and you click Continue, you should see our course information. So the DEVM 050, Spring 2012, Pre-Algebra. And of course my name and University of Alaska Fairbanks. At that time, once you have your course code and you've been verified into the correct course, then you want to enter your access code. This is the code that came with your textbook. Okay, so when you purchased your materials through the CDE website, this ALEKS access code should have come with your text. Okay, if you bought your books elsewhere and you did not get an access code, you do have the option to purchase your access code online. And when you click on there, you'll see the different options that you have. Okay, I would recommend to buy at least 11 weeks. Okay, if you are definitely going to need it for all of them, so if you don't think you're going to be able to finish in 11 weeks, you're going to want the 18 weeks, which will cover one full semester. Okay, try not to get anything less than 11 weeks or you will miss assignments. Okay, some of these are only accessible once you've completed a certain portion or when a certain date hits. So at a minimum, I would suggest the 11 weeks if you're going to try and work ahead, but I would strongly recommend choosing the 18-week. Okay, once you've clicked the one you want, it'll then take you into a payment screen. So it'll tell you how much you're going to pay for it. It'll ask for your email address. Once you've put that in, it'll ask for your information, so both credit card and billing information, and then it'll go ahead and place the order and give you that access code. Okay, back to the enter your access code. So if you already have one and you enter your code in there, then it's going to take you into a screen that asks for your personal information. So in here, they'll ask for your first and last name, email address, and student ID. Okay, please make sure that when you enter this information, it is identical to what is listed in Blackboard. Okay. Be aware that if you enter information different than what's in Blackboard, you will not get your ALEKS grades. These pieces of information need to match exactly. Okay, so you should be using your UA email address, your UA student ID, and then the first and last name that is in the UA system. Okay. Down at the bottom, you'll see a user agreement. You're welcome to go ahead and read through that. Click on I have read and agree to the terms of the ALEKS user agreement, and then click Continue. You'll then be redirected to a page for your account creation. And your page will look similar to this. The difference is they'll have a login name and password listed for you. Okay, as it says here, please write this information down. You'll need it to access ALEKS, and I do not have access to this. So me as your instructor, I will not be able to get this information for you. So if you lose your username or your password, you will have to contact ALEKS support. They are usually pretty good about getting back to you and helping you out, but it's a little bit longer step in the process. So just make sure that you know your username and password. If you want to change your password to something you will remember a little easier, you're certainly welcome to do that, and the instructions for that are listed on there. Once you've completed your registration, you'll see one of two things. So if you are using a computer that already has the ALEKS plugin, which is basically any computer on campus or any of the campus labs, then the ALEKS plugin has already been installed. Okay, if you are not, so if you're using a personal computer or a laptop, then you're going to need to install that ALEKS plugin. Okay, so you'll see a page that looks like this, and basically you'll just click on continue. Once you click continue, it'll come up with a request to let the ALEKS access your computer. They're going to basically put in a little applet, kind of like an Adobe Reader. It's going to help you be able to read the math problems on the site. Okay, you're going to want to allow this. Once you click allow, it's going to come up with your download screen. So this is where you're going to ask to verify the signature from ALEKS, and then click on Run. Next, you'll see the ALEKS plugin being installed. Okay, this usually takes just a couple of seconds. If you have a slower internet connection, it can take a couple of minutes. Try not to interrupt this. If it does get interrupted, you'll have to start this process over. Okay. If you're using a Windows machine, you're then going to need to restart all your web browsers. Okay, so close everything out and then reopen your page. Once you reopen your page, you should be taken back to the ALEKS homepage. If not, again, you can type into the web browser or go through Blackboard to get there. Okay. At this time, you want to enter your username and password. And when you do, it'll take you into ALEKS. And the first time you log in, it'll automatically take you into the tutorial. Okay. The very first time you log in, so in this lesson 1 assignment, there's a place for you to practice within ALEKS. I would recommend giving yourself a couple of hours. Okay. If you're familiar with online math systems and entering answers, you can skip through the tutorial. Okay. So you'll see a screen similar like this, and you'll be asked to kind of do some things. So in this case, using the keyboard, type in 14. Okay, we've successfully answered that. Now we can clear, we can do undo, we can click on next. It'll take you through step by step. It shows you how to enter fractions, exponents, roots, basically all of our mathematical symbols. Okay, if you feel pretty comfortable with this, you can go ahead and skip past it by clicking the double arrow. Okay, what it'll then do is take you into the graphing, which is a little different depending on the computer systems you're working with. Again, it'll take you through step by step to kind of show you what to do. Okay. It also will take you through how to use the ALEKS calculator. Okay. Some comments here. This is a pre-algebra course, so one of the things you're going to be asked to do is to calculate some things. Many of the calculations you should be able to do without a calculator. So when you are in ALEKS, I recommend you only use a calculator if that calculator button is highlighted, and they will provide a calculator for you. Okay, if the calculator button is not highlighted, try not to use a calculator. So it will only hurt you when you get to the exams if you use it when not needed. Okay. After the tutorial, it'll take you into an assessment. Okay. Now, one of the things about ALEKS is that it is continually assessing you and making sure that whatever you've learned, you actually keep in your knowledge space. So what it'll do is they'll take an initial assessment to figure out what you know in the course already. Okay. If you don't know something, there's a button that says, I don't know. please feel free to click it. Okay, try not to guess at a problem, because if you don't really understand it, it's going to hurt you a little later when you're working on the course. So if you are not familiar with it, click on I don't know, keep going. If you know parts of it and you think you have an idea of how to work it, go ahead and start trying to solve, but don't just kind of look at it and guess. Okay, put a real effort into it. Do not use notes or books, and like I said, I would give yourself a good hour, maybe even 2, to work through this assessment. Okay, so you'll get a screen that looks like this that gives you kind of some information. Couple of things to keep in mind. There's no partial credit in ALEKS. Your answer is either right or wrong, so you need to be aware of how you're entering things as well as what you're entering. Okay, and it's initial assessment. So again, it's just trying to see what you already know. Okay. Once you click on next, it'll start assessing you. So it'll just throw out some problems. Okay, you can go through and answer them. And like I said, if you get to a problem you really don't know, you can click on I don't know and keep going. Okay. Now I'm going to skip through this. You're not going to have the option to skip the initial assessment, but as an instructor I do. Once you're done the assessment, you're going to see a page that looks like this. This basically gives you a breakdown of your pie chart. Okay. So in here, it'll tell you all of the different sections or major topics that we're going to cover, and of those topics, what you've already mastered. Okay. So in this case, for this particular pie chart, I went through and I know about 116 of the 216 topics that we're going to cover in this course. Okay. If you click on continue, it'll break down what each piece means. So again, the darkened piece is what I know. The light piece is what I still need to learn. Okay. Your goal and your grade for ALEKS basically depends on you filling in this pie chart. Okay, each lesson that's set up in ALEKS is some portion of this pie chart. Okay, so if you hover over a section, so for example, you can see as I hover over them, I'll look at this one. So under whole numbers, if I hover over, there's that little slither of stuff I still need to learn. And in this case, when I look, I get some topics listed in my drop-down menu. Okay, these are items I still need to work on. Now, not all of them are going to come up at once. So as you can see, if I hover over the orange, there's not really anything yet in there for me to learn. And that's just because I have to know the whole number stuff before I can get into the fractions and the proportions. Okay. Once you've found the section that you have things to work on, pick a topic. There's no particular order as to how you do these. They all relate to the lessons as they are in the text, so you don't have to worry about trying to figure out what order to go in. If it's available to you, go ahead and work on it. Okay. Now, again, when you click that, basically you're going to see something like this. They're going to throw a problem at you. Okay. Some of these you may have seen in the initial assessment, some you may have not. Again, your initial assessment's only 20 questions, or about 25 questions. And as you saw in the pie chart, we have 216 topics. So not everything's going to be covered in that initial assessment. Okay. If you know how to do the problem that's presented, go ahead and answer it. Okay. If you get it right, they'll ask you to do 2 more problems and get those right as well. Okay. Once you've gotten the problem right 3 times in a row, it'll add it to your pie chart and remove it from the list of things you need to learn. Okay. If you get in here and you don't have any idea how to start this problem, you can click on explain. Okay. So there's a button down here and it'll give you a brief synopsis of what you need to do in order to answer this type of problem. Okay. So they'll walk you through it and then you can practice. All right. So let's say I enter an answer in here and I try it out. Okay. At this point, it'll either tell you if you got it right or wrong. Okay. If you got it incorrect, you'll see a little arrow up here in a page that says you got this wrong. Okay. You can go back and try and correct it. Okay, so in this case, going to add in another 0. Click on next, and you see now over here in this little box it says good, you got it right, practice it again. Once you get it correct 3 more times, we'll add it to your pi. Okay, now if you get it right the first time and you get it wrong the second time and get it right the third time, you still have to get it right 2 more times before you can add it to your pi. They like you to answer it 3 times in a row correctly. Okay, this can get a little tedious, but again, what it's going to make sure of is that you actually understand the problem before you move on to the next section. Okay, I'm going to go back to the pie chart here, and it's going to look a little different than what it looked like before. Okay, so now if you see when I look in my pie chart, first off, there's this dotted line showing on my pie chart now, whereas before I just had the dark and the light sections. The dotted line tells you the current assignment, the things you need to work on. So as of right now, I need to finish geometry and whole numbers up to that dotted line. Okay, down at the bottom of your pie chart, it tells you what the lesson is. So this is part of lesson 2. It tells you when it's due, so January 30th, 2012. And it tells you how many days you have left and how many topics you have left. Okay, so in this case, 41 days, 6 topics left to master. Now, most of your assignments are due weekly. Okay, some you have twice a week. Your days aren't going to be quite this long. Obviously, this is before the semester starts. That's why it looks like this. But for you, that's one place you can find your information. So your due date will always show up in your pie chart. Okay. Other things to think about when you're in here, ALEKS is good for review as well. So not only just learning your topics, but to review things. Each of your lessons is listed there. And as you saw, if I click on the plus sign, it'll expand all the topics that we need to learn within that lesson. Now, some of these look like a lot, but if you notice, a lot of them are basically the same idea, just different types of problems. So, for example, there's lots of multiplication problems in here. Basically, we need you to know how to multiply real numbers. Okay, so here there's a multiplication of large numbers, multiplication of trailing zeros, introduction to multiplication of large numbers. So they break it down into a bunch of different topics. Again, some of these are going to be combined when you're doing your problems. Okay, and if you want to review, like I said, this is a good place to do it, so you can break it down by lesson, and then you click on there. Again, they'll give you a problem. There's the explain. Some of these will have little videos in there. So I'm going to switch views. Okay, so if you don't want it by lesson number, you can also just look at it by topic. So for example, let's say I know I have problems with polygons and finding area and perimeter of them. So I can come down here to the geometry section, look under polygons and quadrilaterals, and there's my topic that I'm looking for. Okay, so either one of those views can help in the review. Okay. Inside your ALEKS gradebook is another place you will find your due dates. So in here it lists all of your lessons. Okay, so there's 16 lessons for this course, lesson 2 through 16 in ALEKS, and it tells you exactly when these are due. Okay, all of the lesson assignments are due by 11 p.m. on that date. ALEKS assignments cannot be made up. The grade that goes in here is based on what you've completed in that particular portion of the pie chart by that date and time. So if you miss a deadline, so for example, let's say it's February 4th and you go in here and you realize you haven't worked on your AL3, there will be a grade in there. It's automatically done in ALEKS. And what it'll tell me is how much of the work for AL3 and those topics you've completed at that time. Okay, so these cannot be made up. You need to make sure that you look at your due dates for these and work on ALEKS continuously. Okay, the other thing that you'll see in here is your calendar. And if you go into your calendar, again, you'll see all of your due dates. Okay. Now, one of the nice things about the calendar is it'll also show you how much time you have to complete each assignment. Okay. So for example, AL2, it'll be available to you on the 18th. You need to have it completed by the 30th. ALEKS automatically sets it up so the next one is available as soon as you've completed the prior one. So if you've worked ahead, and let's say you finished AL2 on the 26th, AL3 will be available to you on the 27th. Okay, you will still have the same due date, so that's not going to change. It's just going to change when the next assignment is available for you. Okay. This course, we will not have any ALEKS homework or ALEKS quizzes. All of your assignments have to deal with your pie chart. Like I said, you will get assessments periodically. So if you're working ahead, you can probably expect to have some assessments pop up just to make sure that you're retaining the information that you're going through. At the end, they will give you a final assessment just so you can see how much you've learned. So once you're done with AL16, they'll have a final assessment for you at the end of the course. Okay. Now again, this is just for your ALEKS grade. This will all be entered into Blackboard. And again, all of the due dates for these will also show up in your Blackboard calendar. Okay. At this time, I would recommend taking your ALEKS code, logging into ALEKS, setting up your account, and then taking your initial assessment. Okay. If you have questions, please let me know.